Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today, I wanted to show off one of the figurines from my collection, and this is from a series called Lupin III. Lupin III is an immensely popular series in Japan. It's been going on for more than 45 years now. And this is from one of the older movies from the Lupin series. So, Lupin III, otherwise known as Lupin Sansei in Japanese, is basically about a man named Arsène Lupin. He's the main character and he's a thief. And he just goes around to different museums, different expensive rich people's houses, and stealing things is the premise of the show. And then there's an inspector, Zenigata, who's always trying to catch him. So it's one of those cat and mouse criminal and detective shows. It's very quirky, it's very fun, it's got some romance, it's got plenty of action, and just a cast of lovable characters in general. So, what makes this so special? This is from a movie called The Castle of Cagliostro, or in Japanese, Cagliostro no Shiro. Now, this movie was directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and Miyazaki is best known for his films such as My Neighbor Totoro or Spirited Away. And so back in 1979 is when this movie came out. He actually worked together with the creator of Lupin III, Monkey Punch, and made this movie, which was super interesting because Lupin was known for being sort of a ruthless character, sort of a really bad guy. And Miyazaki kind of toned this down and softened it for the movie to make him sort of a cheerful, goofy criminal. So it's just an interesting movie. I highly recommend it. Whether or not you've heard of Lupin III, most people have seen at least some of the Miyazaki films. And so this kind of has that soft adventure type feel to it. So here today, we have a figurine from the pre-assembled collection, and this is from the movie. So you can see here, Lupin Sansei, Lupin III, pre-assembled collection. This is by Medicom. Medicom is a Japanese toy company, a classic toy company. We have here, it says the Castle of Cagliostro, and then copyright to Monkey Punch. So here are the cast of characters. We have Lupin. Lupin is our main character. He is the criminal. We have Jigen. Jigen is the sidekick of Lupin. In this movie, he is kind of just a sniper. We have the swordsman. The swordsman's name is Goemon. He is kind of the classic Japanese typical character. He's like a samurai. We have Fujiko Mine. Fujiko Mine is the love interest of Lupin. So they always have their own hijinks. They're constantly betraying each other. Here we have Zenigata. Zenigata is the detective that is always trying to bring down Lupin. He's a little bit dumb, but he's a very hardworking character. One of those. And then, only for this movie, this character is Lady Clarice. She is the princess of the movie. The premise of this movie is that Lupin and the gang had just gone to a casino and robbed a whole lot of money, and it turns out this money was counterfeit. So being criminals, this made them very angry, and Lupin wanted to know the source of this counterfeit money. So he finds out it's coming from this castle. And so he goes to the castle to try to figure out where the counterfeits are coming from, and he finds Lady Clarice. Now she is being forced to marry the Duke of this castle because there's some sort of deep treasure buried underground, and they need to get married to unite these two rings and try to find this treasure. So that's the premise of the movie. It ends up, can he save the princess type of deal. So before we open it up, let's just take a look at all sides. The box is not in the best condition because this is a very old toy. I have not been able to find any others in better condition. I'm sure they exist, but it's just sort of a rare thing. Ages 14 and up, probably due to choking hazards. Then on this side, it has a few more images from the film. We can see Goemon, the samurai, Lady Clarice, and Lupin. No real spoilers here, just some random images. There is Fujiko Mine. She looks so different than she does in current series for this film. A very angry looking Zenigata on the phone. Jigen is so adorable. He's probably my favorite character. And then our hero and anti-hero, I suppose, Lupin. So, as for the unboxing, it's very simple. No tape, nothing preventing us from jumping right in. So here is our Lupin figurine. What a handsome man. He does not, unfortunately, stand up on his own very well. Oh, all right. We will be careful. I would not recommend displaying this as standing up without some sort of a homemade base for this. So if we take a look here at his hair, this is a hard plastic base. It does not come off. It's all welded together. The paint on the face seems to be rubbing off just a little bit. You can see it on the eyebrow there. So this is quite possibly hand painted just because of the age of the toy. The shirt, chest, and tie are also just a hard plastic. You can see he has a gun holster, which is also in that same hard plastic. Now his jacket is like a cloth, and it's not super high quality. You can tell that it's fraying just a little bit on the inside. When we fold it over, you can't tell so much, but if we look inside, the jacket does slip off. So we can see here the joints of the toy. Actually, they're very well done, the joints on this toy. He's actually posable in the arms. Let's see what we can do. So we can raise his arm out. We can say a hello. Lupin in the series is also, he's very monkey-like. He's got all these very dynamic poses that are common of older animes. So this is pretty fitting. This is really the only pose he can do. The, what do you got? What do you want kind of pose. Confident. His pants are also made of the hard plastic. We can turn his feet, which is nice. So let's see, it's inscribed in very dark paint, but maybe we could see it. So this is Medicom 1994. So quite an old figurine at this point. And then here we have, in Japanese, it says Monkey Punch, which is the creator, the original creator of the Lupin series. Now, they actually, Medicom, re-released this figurine in 2001. So that's 14 years later. And it's almost the same exact figurine. It's difficult to tell, especially if you're looking this up on secondhand websites. The key teller for the older version, other than, of course, looking at his foot, is this picture of Fujiko will be different on the newer versions. Everything else is about the same. They've re-released this about 3 different times, but the 2 most common are the newer one, the 2001, which has a different picture here, and also the one we're looking at now, the 1994 version. So, getting back into the box, we also have, in some old plastic, Lupin's gun. So let's take a look at what this is. Now this is still kept at the original plastic. I haven't taken this apart since I received it this way, but you can tell it's not super high quality plastic. It's really just an old toy. It's really, that's all it's meant to be. This is the kind where you would just snap off the outside and just keep the gun. I would be very worried, especially with a cheaper plastic like this, of these points after you snap it off, actually sticking to the gun and sticking out and looking bad unless you really sanded it down. Of course, with an older, more antique figurine like this, you probably shouldn't take anything apart anyway. But if you look this up online, you can tell this is his gun hand, and he is able to hold it, which is kind of neat. I don't know quite the pose you would put in this. He's holding up a gun and then he's got his outstretched hand here. But overall, a very cute, quaint figurine. And that is all which is included in the box. This figurine right now, it's hard to say what the value is just because so many people mix up the older version, the 1994 version, and the newer 2001 version. I've seen it going anywhere from $100 to $500 in various conditions. Of course, our box here is not the best. You can see the whitening, we have the cracks. But overall, it's pretty much comparable to anyone I can find on the market at the moment. Really, it's just cute for collectors, people who are invested in the Lupin series, just because the Castle of Cagliostro is such an important film to fans of the series, because it's just so odd, and having Miyazaki directing a film with such a bad guy in it, it's just an interesting premise. So if you get the chance, I recommend checking it out, or any of the Lupin series, quite frankly. It's not as popular in the Western market, but it is slowly coming over. They just released a 3D version of Lupin in the Western market. So take a look if you get the chance. I highly recommend it. Thank you for joining me today. See you!